Hey, did you guys hear that Jean Grey is coming back from the dead?
Again? Dude, Marvel Girl is a joke of resurrection in comics. She's died and come back like 1,000,000 times. Can't they leave that woman dead already?
I don't think it's been 1,000,000, but she has died more than Superman, Goku, and Kenny.
Actually, you guys would be surprised to know how many times she's really died.
All right, let's do a count. But only 616 universe Jean Grey. None of this what if, Age of Apocalypse movie or cartoon universe stuff.
Right. Or things like when the Marvel Universe gets destroyed and then gets restored. Otherwise, this list would go and take all day.
Oh yeah, and just in case, spoilers! Let's go back all the way to the first time she died, in Uncanny X-Men 100. In order to help the X-Men escape the Star Core space station, Jean pilots a space shuttle through lethal radiation from a solar flare, attempting to use her powers to shield her. So she technically dies of solar radiation.
Well, not really, because shortly after the shuttle crashes in the bay in Uncanny X-Men 101, Jean emerges from the water as the newly reborn Phoenix. And then later, it was retconned that the Phoenix Force made a deal with her and saved her by putting her in a stasis pod underwater, where she stayed for years under a state of suspended animation.
Well, what about Uncanny 137? After she turned into Dark Phoenix and ate a planet, the Phoenix was put on trial by the Shi'ar. It was decided that Jean had to die for her crimes. And when her friends decide to do a trial by combat with the Imperial Guard and then start to lose, Phoenix takes full responsibility for killing all those people on the planet, and she commits suicide.
Well, you said it yourself, though. The Phoenix is the one that committed suicide. The Jean that died on the moon was the Phoenix-created duplicate of Jean. Remember what I said about the real Jean being in a pod underwater? Well, the cocoon was later found by the Avengers in Avengers 263 and then taken to the Fantastic Four in Fantastic Four 283, where she woke up to be reunited with her friends in X-Factor 1 because we needed the original Jean Grey to sell copies of X-Factor comics.
What about Infinity Gauntlet number 1, when my boy Thanos makes half the world's population disappear just to impress his girl Death? Jean was one of those characters that got blinked out of existence. She died. She ceased to exist. She is no more. She went to meet her maker.
Wrong! Everything was back to normal when Adam Warlock got a hold of the Gauntlet and restored everyone that Thanos had killed back to life. And since everything was restored back to normal, it doesn't technically count as a death.
Yeah. Well, what about Uncanny X-Men 281? When the upstarts made a game out of killing members of the Hellfire Club. They went after White Queen, and Trevor Fitzroy's Sentinels killed a bunch of Hellions, and even killed Jean.
Technically, she didn't die. She transferred her mind into Emma Frost's body before the Sentinels could deliver the final blow. Just a few issues later, in Uncanny X-Men 283, Jean eventually transferred her mind back into her own body with the help of Professor X.
But her body was still brain dead. Doesn't that count?
No, because her mind lived on somewhere else.
Okay, if that's the case, then I guess we aren't counting Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, number 1, when Jean and Cyclops' minds are transported from their bodies to the bodies of Red and Slim in the distant future to raise baby Nathan for 12 years?
That's right. It was just her mind, along with Cyclops, that were transported to the future to raise Cable and prep him for the war against Apocalypse.
I got this one, guys. What about New X-Men 148? The whole Zornito mess. Whoever he was manages to trap Wolverine and Jean in the remains of Asteroid M. He plunged the asteroid into the sun, and Wolverine, trying to spare Jean from being burned alive, stabs her with his claws, killing her.
Right, that part is true, but this quote-unquote death awakens the Phoenix in her, and she flies back to Earth to face Magneto, Zornito, whatever. So, no, that one really doesn't count either.
Alright, finally, this is the one. New X-Men 150. Battle with Magneto. He gave her a stroke with a magnetic pulse, and that massive stroke ended up killing her. That's it. No more Jean Grey.
Well, if you remember Grant Morrison's final storyline, Here Comes Tomorrow, it takes place 150 years in the future, and we do see the return of Jean. She was corrupted by Sublime. And we had the Phoenix Egg, and you know what? I'll give you this one. This one totally counts.
Okay, so what are we at? 6 deaths, I think?
Well, I guess it depends. 6 or just 1. Just one time that Jean Grey has actually died.
You know what? These retcons and retelling of stories are really killing this list and making this less fun.
I got some more. How about Phoenix in Song 3, where she is killed 6 different times? When a wounded part of the Phoenix Force makes its way to Earth, it brings Jean back to life to help heal itself. Feeling the Phoenix power take control, she asks Wolverine to repeatedly kill her to weaken the Phoenix. And he does! 6 freaking times.
Nice try! But each time the Phoenix is able to help resurrect Jean, almost immediately after getting killed. And then after that, the entity is weakened enough that in Phoenix End Song number 5, Jean decides that she's not ready to come back to life. Instead, returning to the White Hot Room, which is apparently where the Phoenix goes to rest or wait till another limited series.
So, she really only died one time? Really? Come on.
Well, I guess it really depends on who you ask. She could have died 14 times, or just once, since all the other deaths were just copies of her. But no worries. Marvel's bringing our own Jean Grey back with Phoenix Resurrection, the return of adult Jean Grey. I wish I was kidding, but that's actually the title.
God, my head hurts. Thanks, Marvel.
Thank you for joining us for a confusing look at the lives and deaths of Jean Grey. And we didn't even get to count alternate Earths or original 5 Jean Grey coming from the past to the...
Dan, shut up! My head can't take any more. I'm going to go read X-Men Red to give my brain a rest from this Jean Grey nonsense.
Tina, never mind. If we've left out any deaths or resurrections, please let us know in the comments below.
And if this is your first time watching our videos, please consider subscribing to our channel and give us a like.
And read the notes.
Thank you.
The Jean that died on the moon was a Phoenix created duplicate of Jean Grey. The Jean that died on the moon was a Phoenix created duplicate of... God! The Jean that died on the moon was a Phoenix created duplicate of... Did I that up again? That would be an awesome mutant ability. That is a duplicate.
Oh, no, I said it!